Our word of the week this week is semeion, a sign or a miracle, semeion. It comes from an older classical Greek word, sema, from the Homeric epics. It's used a lot in the Homeric epics, and it's an object or a circumstance that makes possible the specific perception or insight about something. In other words, it's something that causes you to get it. It lets you recognize someone or something. It's something that serves as, depending on how you want to pronounce it, bona fides or bona fides, right? This is the thing that lets you know something is legitimate, or that a thing that you've been expecting is now happening. This sign is, or this miracle is an event, an occurrence, a piece of evidence that lets you see something for what it is. Pretty awesome. So it can be, as I've mentioned, it can be something miraculous, or it can be something very natural. For example, if I go out in my yard and I look on my lawn and I see the telltale two-pronged tracks in the grass that deer leave, and I see piles of little black jelly beans, these are signs that when I'm asleep at night, there are deer in my yard. So those are very natural signs, right? But then there are other signs that we look at that are not so natural. And another great example of a natural sign is the old saying, right? Red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. So it can be the evidence of a natural phenomenon, or it can be something that is not quite so natural that causes us to know something. The three synoptic gospels use the word in a fairly consistent manner. John does some interesting things with it. That's why our word of the week next week will also be semeion, but we're going to look specifically at some of the things that John does with it. First, let's see it as a distinguishing mark by which something is known. Let's look in Matthew chapter 12, verses 38 and 39. This is from the ESV, and I've added the Koine in the multiple places where it appears. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered him, saying, "Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you," semeion, sign. All the occurrences in these two verses are the vocabulary word as it appears in the nominative singular, semeion. But he answered them, "An evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." He goes on to talk about, like Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of the great fish, he would spend 3 days in the earth. And so this is in reply to their request for him to show them something that proves he's legitimate. I want to challenge you to also go and look at, we're not going to look at it together, but go and look at 2 Thessalonians 3, verse 17. Paul says, "You'll know that the letter is from me because you'll see that at the end of all my letters, I write in my own hand." So the common practice was for an amanuensis, a scribe, to take your dictation and to format your letter and to write it out. But Paul says, you can trust that the letter is from me because I did what? I put my own sign on it. I signed it. My signature is the sign that it's from me. The next way it's used is as a miracle. And by miracle, I just mean something that happens that is contrary to nature. So not like seeing a red sky at night because of the clouds hanging near the horizon, but something that we would not expect to see happen in normal circumstances. We're going to look at it here in John 2:11. This is at the end of the miracle at the wedding at Cana, where it says, "This, the first of his signs," semeion in the plural, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So what was the miracle? Jesus told the servants to fill the water jars to the very brim with water. which they did. And then he told them to draw from the vessels that had been filled with water. But when they drew out, they didn't draw out water, they drew out wine. And you can go and read the rest of the story. But what makes it contrary to nature? This is contrary to both the nature of water and of wine, that you can fill a vessel with water but draw wine from it, right? So it's a sign in the sense that it's something that tells us something about Jesus, in that the thing that he did is contrary to nature. Next, we're going to see sort of a satanic, demonic performance done to enthrall people. This is found in Matthew 24:24. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs, semea, and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. So here we get a very popular phrase, semea kai terata. And terata is a word that only appears together with semea. And when terata appears, it's always plural, as is semea when the two words are together, signs and wonders. There's at least one place where it appears in the inverse, terata kai semea, wonders and signs. But they're always plural and they're always together. Terata doesn't appear in the New Testament without our word of the week, semea. You can see this word again in, or I should say, you can see deceptive signs again in Revelation 13:13, if you want to go and look at it there. And finally, we're going to see it used as terrifying signs in the sky. This is from Luke 21. We're going to look at verses 11 and verse 25. It says there will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and pestilences. There will be terrors and great signs from heaven. And signs here is semea, our word in the plural. And verse 25, and there will be signs, semea, in the sun and the moon and the stars, and on the earth distress of nations and perplexity because of the roaring of the sea and the waves. So here we get terrifying signs in nature as evidences of the foretold coming of the end of days. So we get from the mundane, Paul talking about his literal signature as a sign. For example, Judas's kiss as a sign that identifies Jesus as the target of the soldiers coming to arrest him, to miracles by Jesus, to deceptive acts by false Christs and prophets, and to portents in the heavens. Semeion, sign or miracle, has a broad use and is very interesting. And a week from today, we'll take a look at semeion in the interesting ways that John used it. It has more to offer. In the interim, go and dig in, look at 2 Thessalonians 3:17, look at Revelation 13:13, and use your concordance or your computer and look at some other occurrences of our Word of the Week, semeion. Until then, Karis Kairene Humin, grace and peace to you.